I've tried to go into a room where my kids aren't going to attack the room. So it is 2:23 p.m. in the UK. And I was going to chat about a few things. The videos that I posted this morning and the videos that I've been posting recently. But I'm just going to initially talk about the Priscilla Presley post that I did, which is only short, and it's a very recent post of Priscilla Presley talking about her biological father and introducing him to the fans. So it's very clear here that she wants you guys to know who he is, and just so she speaks fondly of him. So it was quite a surprising live, to be honest with you, because I mean, post, to be honest with you, because it's a bit out of the blue. It's a bit sort of unexpected. Why Priscilla Presley just suddenly out of the blue wants to talk about her real biological father, who she never actually met, I don't think. Anyway, so straight away I've had a reaction from people on the comments, and I'll just read a couple of them for you. Let's go to the... Actually, I'll show you the post first, and then we can go from there. So let's have a look. Let's just get them up. I'm just going to put it on this phone here that I've got, and we'll go from there. Let's get it up. And then obviously people are commenting straight away about the fact that she's never wanted to use the name. Let's get it a bit louder. Her real father. Let's listen together.
Hi everyone. I want you to meet my biological father, Jim Wagner. My dad passed on November 1945. And I've heard so much about him from my mother, how handsome he was, how wonderful he was. And the big thing about him that everyone loved was he whistled. He would whistle walking down the street, walking into a store, and he always had a smile on his face. So I'm introducing you to Jim, my dad.
There we are. So quite an unusual post. To be honest with you, I was a bit taken aback by it. I was like, what an unusual thing to post. It's almost like she's posted it to actually get a reaction. So I'm guessing his name was James Wagner. Let me just see what happens when I type his name into Jim Wagner. See what comments come up. Priscilla's father. I'm very interested to know. Priscilla's biological father was an US Navy pilot, James Frederick Wagner, son of Catherine and Harold Wagner of Cherry Tree Township, Pennsylvania. There we go. So it comes up straight away. And, there's some pictures here. I'll just show you. Is it very clear? Let's have a look. There we go. He's a handsome guy. What other I just want to see what other pictures come up of him. So there. He served his country. Then you've got one here of a very young Priscilla. Do you think they look alike? And I'm guessing there'll be one of him with Priscilla's mother. Let's have a look. So, I mean, she was a beautiful lady when she was young. Let's have a look. Any more? Oh yeah, here we go. So here's one of him holding Priscilla as a baby. Okay. So, yeah. What happened to Priscilla's parents? Her biological father, James Wagner, was a pilot who was killed in a plane crash when Priscilla was just an infant. Her mother, a Norwegian American, Anna Lillian Iverson, then married Paul Beaulieu, a United States Air Force officer. Bulow took over the raising of Priscilla and is known as the father. So that's where the Bulow comes from. So I just find it unusual that she, out of the blue, has made that post. It's almost like she's doing it for a reason, to get for someone's attention. It's definitely unusual. What do you guys think? Why do you think she has made that post? And she looks quite happy with herself while she's doing it. Right, who did Priscilla Wagner marry? Let's have a look. All right, so they're calling her Priscilla Wagner. So Wagner is her real name. That's unusual. So let's just read another comment. Presley's biological father was U.S. Navy pilot Frederick Wagner, son of Catherine and Harold Wagner of Cherokee Township, Pennsylvania. He married Anne on August the 10th, 1944, after dating more than 3 years. Wagner died in a plane crash on November the 3rd, 1945. Well, that's quite informative. If you're interested in everything Elvis, if you're interested in Priscilla, right, we'll try a few more questions here. What did Priscilla's father do? What was his job? In 1959, Priscilla Presley Bulow was living in West Germany with her dad, an Air Force officer stationed. It was also where Elvis Presley was living while serving in the US Army, which we all know about. Who did Priscilla have a baby with? We know about, obviously we know about Lisa Marie, but Priscilla gave birth to Navarone in 1987, a full 21 years after having Lisa Marie. Wow, that was a big gap, wasn't it? 21 years after. Her father is music producer Mario Garibaldi, which I think we all know about. So yeah, interesting. I'm just having a coffee, guys. How old was Priscilla when she had a baby? Priscilla fell pregnant soon after their wedding with their 20... with their daughter Lisa Marie, born exactly 9 months after their after their wedding on the 1st of February 1968. Priscilla was 22 years old. I know a lot of you know this, but I'm just saying it anyway because I'm finding it interesting. And then there's another little write-up of Garibaldi. Navarone is Lisa Marie Presley's half-brother. About 10 years after Elvis Presley's death, Priscilla welcomed her second child, Navarone Garibaldi Garcia, with her long-time partner, Marco Garibaldi. And some people have told me that they secretly have married, but had married. So is that true? On March the 1st, 1987, Priscilla never married Marco, but the couple was together for nearly 20 years. Now, that brings up questions for me because she always calls Elvis the love of her life, that he was the one, the only one. But come on, she was with Marco Garibaldi for 20 years, over 20 years, and they had a baby who's obviously grown up now. But come on, at least to Priscilla fans out there, you must understand that if you're with a man for 20 years and you've had a child, that to sit on TV and be interviewed regularly and keep saying over and over again that Elvis is the one, Elvis was the love of your life. Well, for a start, it's an insult to Navarone, but it's also an insult to the family of Marco Garibaldi Garcia. And I don't know all the story, but I think there's a lot of complicated, complex issues, financial issues with money to do with Marco and to do with his background and where he came from and his nationality. I think there's loads of questions there. So, question: why did Priscilla never marry again? After her divorce with Elvis, she said that why she never got married to somebody is because she believed the king of rock and roll couldn't handle it. She never felt the bond with someone else, that no one has ever come close to what she and late artist enjoyed. She never planned to marry somebody else. It just doesn't add up, does it? 20 years. You stay with someone for 20 years, but you don't feel that there's a bond. And many Elvis fans will say it was because she wanted to be able to keep that Presley name, even though we all know she gave it up for a while and then took it back after he passed away. So let's just look at the comments on the video. So we'll go to the actual video itself. I don't think it's had many comments because I didn't post it that long ago. Right, let's have a look. Hi, guys. So, she don't even know him. The woman is weird. Something is really wrong with her. She suddenly realized she had a father. And I understand this comment. I think because it's so unexpected and out of the blue that she suddenly wants to talk about James Wagner, her biological father. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it's a bit odd. She suddenly decided to speak about her biological father after all these years, and then question mark. And then you've got cringe, cringe, cringe. Oh, such a sad story, more lies, laugh out loud. Oh, such a sad story, more lies, laugh out loud. She's so unpopular. It's unbelievable how unpopular she is. But I also know that when I look at my comments, I'll also have many people jumping in to defend Priscilla and praise Priscilla and keep bringing up how she saved Graceland and she is the reason Elvis is remembered because she's preserved his legacy. Now, you know my views, guys. Many people saved Graceland. Priscilla was one of them. And yes, she does. She is one of the people that help keep Elvis's memory alive, his legacy. But there's millions. There are millions of people keeping Elvis's memory alive. So, and Graceland does not need Priscilla. She obviously worked very hard to keep Graceland going and help Lisa Marie run everything for many years, but she was handsomely paid to do that, which that as well has infuriated Elvis fans, that she got so much money, nearly as much as $1 million a year. And some are saying that Priscilla may have not even have known about it. Some feel that she stole out of Lisa Marie's pocket. I mean, Lisa Marie may have not even known about it. Some feel that she took the money straight out of Lisa Marie's pocket. I personally think if you're going to run a giant corporation style business like that, like EPE Enterprises and Gracelands and and everything that goes with that, that you do deserve to get quite a high wage. Yeah. And I'm not going to say it should be 900,000 a year. I think that new figure now has been reduced to 100,000 a year. From what I hear, John Travolta from Scientology helped negotiate a deal with Riley Keough when the lawsuit came up after the death of Lisa, and it's 100,000 a year. She's an advisor to Riley, but also she got a 1 million payoff. Is this correct? And a place to be buried at Graceland. Is this correct? This is what I've read, and John Travolta helped on that. Now, you know me, I'm not a fan of Scientology, so we could talk quite a lot about that in depth, but I won't. But I really do like John Travolta. So, right, so let's keep reading. There's a few more comments on the other one, which is, let me just have a look. Skip past, right, okay. So, oops, right. Let's pause that. Okay. So we have from Poussin4665, who regularly comments on my channel, and he's in France. Hi, Poussin. Look, one just coming. Well said, totally agree. And McChrystal replied. Okay, I'm not sure what that's on. Right. Priscilla Bulow now wants to move the pity the fans of beloved Elvis by speaking with tremors in her voice her biological father, whom she never knew. This woman is ready to do anything to stay in the spotlight and make herself believe more important than Elvis. But no one is fooled, just my feelings. Taking care of business, Elvis, love and gift from God. That is Poussin. If you're watching Poussin, I've read your comment, and unfortunately, that view is well, not unfortunately. The truth is, many people feel this way about it. Priscilla was one of Elvis Presley's greatest loves. Elvis had a huge dependence on being among women due to his mother legacy in his life, Elvis Forever, and that is Nanda. So I get what she's saying. She's basically saying that because he was very, very close to his mother, unusually close to the point where he literally never, ever recovered from her passing, which I agree with. It affected him to the day he died. And she's saying that is the reason he was always so dependent on a woman figure, a mother figure, a girlfriend figure. And do you guys agree with that? And then it says here, it's good to see Priscilla talking about her real father. This is from Julie's 3327. He died when she was a baby. I think he had lived. She would have had a relationship with her real father despite having a loving stepfather. And I do think that Priscilla's real mother and stepfather did worship her and did their best for her. I really believe that. So that's that video. And I keep repeating it. I personally think it's a bit completely out of the blue that she would suddenly want to post this video about her biological father. Just why? To the world. And to me, it must be to get a reaction. It must be. I can't think of any other reason. Anyway, so then I posted, we're going back to the child bride. I've been doing a few videos trying to understand the book Child Bride from, is it Suzanne, I'm forgetting her name now, Suzanne Finstad, the author. So I've been reading a lot more about it. I've been watching a lot of Suzanne Finstad, the author's interviews, and I'm just trying to get a feel for it. So I did put something together quickly this morning. It's about 3.5 to 4 minutes long, just to get a feel for the book, Suzanne's intentions with the book. So I'm gonna let you guys watch it with me. I've got to hold my phone up to the phone, two phones, but I think Suzanne Finstad at the signing launch of her book Child Bride in 1997 is questions about the book and what the book entails. Make sure you see it. Very interesting. Let's have a listen together. She actually was an enormous Elvis fan, like millions of other teenagers in the 1950s, and actually had sort of strategized to meet him when she discovered that her family was being transferred to Germany, to the point that she even sort of recreated the look of actress Deborah Paget, with whom Elvis had fallen in love when he made his first movie, Love Me Tender. She recreated the hairstyle. It's kind of a unique look that Deborah had in that film. And she and Curry met, as the legend goes, in Germany. But in fact, according to Curry, it was Priscilla who strode up to him boldly one day and said, I understand that you know Elvis Presley and I'd like to meet him. And according to Curry, she was willing to do virtually anything to make that meeting happen, including sleeping with Curry, as he says, to effect the introduction. And this very controversial book that millions are talking about, a completely different, rewritten version of Priscilla Presley's life, right back from when she first met Elvis in 1959. Do you guys believe it? I spent most of the day at her house,
And she was extraordinarily candid with me on a lot of intimate issues. And I think the reason that she was so forthcoming about her sex life with Elvis is that I think there was a certain desperation on her part to illustrate to fans why she would leave Elvis Presley and why she would leave him for a karate champion. People have sort of puzzled and pondered over that for years, and I think she wanted to demonstrate that this, for her, was not a fantasy relationship once she was in it, that there were aspects of it that were harrowing for her. And as a result, she confided these accounts of how Elvis had fans really do not embrace Priscilla. And I think that they have intuited over the years that her story just didn't ring true. And as a result, I actually was just in Memphis for Elvis Week, and I had fan upon fan come up to me and thank me for writing this book. And they said, we've just been waiting for someone to have the courage to, sort of investigate this and tell the truth about Priscilla and Elvis, because they've sensed that what they've been told was not true. So, they're actually seeing it as a vindication, and they're embracing it.
And many Elvis fans just don't believe Priscilla Presley's version of the life she had with Elvis Presley. What do you guys think?
Elvis could hear this and get the biggest kick out of this you have ever seen in your life. Because he would take a liking to that like no other, because you did such a great job on it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And who are you?
Nobody but somebody.
Nice.
Nobody but somebody. Now, it's a guy who knows the man at the time he was alive. Way back when.
And Suzanne Finstad has done a lot of research before she released this book about Priscilla and Elvis and the life they had, starting right back in 1959. And there's some very, very shocking details in this book, and many of them are very hard to believe. So can I ask you guys, the subscribers on my channel and the Elvis fans, do you believe the things that are being written in this book? Please can you comment and let me know? Or do you think the whole thing is just a load of lies? Thanks, guys. Have a great day. There we are. See, sorry that was quite long. But what are your views, guys? Because when you think about it, that Suzanne Finstad, from what I can see, started off with the intention of just doing a book about Priscilla Presley's life. And yes, she's a researcher, and she went into the research really a bit blindfolded and was shocked and surprised with the amount of detail that she found out from many, many people that she interviewed. And it got to the point where she had found out so much that she even in herself was worried about releasing this book because for possible lawsuits and a possible reaction. So she was very, very careful that she recorded every single interview and made sure she had literally recorded. Can I say it? She made sure she had a record of everything in case there was a backlash. And I think we do know that Priscilla did sue Curry Grant, and she won her case and was awarded $75,000. But I think it is known that she said to him he doesn't have to pay her the $75,000 as long as he doesn't talk about anything back then or in the book. So, this book has got a lot of people talking on my comments. When you look at my comments, and especially the people that dislike Priscilla, that think Priscilla is fake and two-faced and is a liar and is a money grabber, and really upset with her on how they feel that she has treated Elvis. And this is very passionate comments. That they love this book because they feel that finally something came out that could sort of verify to them in themselves that all their bad thoughts about Priscilla and everything they've learned about Priscilla that they disagree with is now okay, because the book has proved that she's a fake and she's a liar, and that a lot of things happen that shouldn't have happened. And obviously the story is that everything was pre-planned, and she even did her hair, and she sought out Cary Grant to arrange a meeting. It was almost like sex for favors type agreement with Cary Grant, but it also says in the book that he had a big crush on her, even though he was married with a child and he was 25 and she was only 14, 15, 16. So there's a lot of shocking revelations in this book. This book go quite deep into the history of Priscilla's family, her parents as well, to try and find, because they're almost saying that the parents even helped her with this plan, and that Anne, her mother, really forced Priscilla to go back to Graceland, even though Priscilla had fallen in love with the star football player at her high school, and Priscilla didn't actually want to go. So I personally I find a lot of it a bit unbelievable, and I'm still trying to make sense of it because I'm still learning more about this topic. I am very interested in it because I really think that most Elvis fans and most people that are not Elvis fans fell in love with the fairy tale that Elvis and Priscilla met in the late 50s, 59, and had a courtship through the 60s, and then eventually got married, I think, in 67. And unfortunately, Priscilla had one foot out the door by 1972, and were given the impression that it was because of Elvis's temper and that he was unfaithful and that she wanted her own independence, and she felt controlled, and that he was forcing her how to dress and put her makeup on and what she can like and dislike, which I definitely don't agree with any of those points. I think, yes, Elvis massively influenced her on how she dresses and her makeup and her hair, and of course he was a very stylish man. I think every couple ask each other about what suits them when they're trying to find clothes to wear, and every relationship, there's tempers happening from the husband or the wife. So I think all the things that are picked on with Elvis, like saying he was controlling and he had bad temper and he had an affair. These are quite typical things of all relationships, I think. Now, remember, Priscilla also had affairs. So, we get told that Elvis is off being this horrible person and unfaithful with all his co-stars, etc., and other girlfriends. But we never get told about what Priscilla was getting up to whilst Elvis was away. And she was a naughty girl. She was. Not just with the dance instructor and with the karate instructor. There were other things. Now, the book is telling us that whilst Elvis went back to America in 1960 and did his Frank Sinatra show and made G.I. Blues, the movie, and made a couple of albums for RCA Victor, that she was up to no good with her world, in her life. And there was a manipulation here to try and get Elvis back on side with the letter writing. And I know she would send him records every week. And she was determined to keep contact. But they're hinting in this book that it was because of Anne making her do it, that really she was in love with this high school football star. So I know that there are hundreds and hundreds of facts in this Child Bride book that I think that you can only really understand if you buy the book and read it. And I also know that any Priscilla hater will love this book and go, I told you so, I told you so. And I've already had a few comments of people saying to me, well, it must be true. She did her research and no one has disputed it. And if no one has disputed the book, it must be true. Well, that is complete rubbish. Not disputing things doesn't make them truth. The only way you're ever going to know the truth about the Child Bride book is if you were there. If you were there in 1959, 1960, when it was all going on. Not, oh, the book says so, so that's okay. And I do, look, remember, I always say this, I am not a Priscilla hater, but I do want to get all the facts out that I can. But I do think that the people that truly do hate Priscilla, and there's many of them, they can't hide it. they can butter it up and change their wording around to make it sound like they're just giving me opinions. I know when someone hates Priscilla. You can't hide it. And unfortunately, there's many of you. And I'm a believer in forgiveness and being kind to people. And even people that have made many mistakes in their lives and got things wrong on so many levels, you have to forgive. You have to forgive. Hate isn't good for anyone. So I urge people that when they give me their comments, I really want to hear your opinions, good or bad, whether you agree with me or not, but please keep them nice. Yeah, anyway, let's just look at some of the comments of that video I posted. So, let's go on. Okay. So I posted it at 5 hours ago. And let's read those comments. It keeps giving me the adverts, of course. Right. Let's pause it. Let's click on the comments. Okay. Right, Teresa Scona. Why do you think it's hard to believe? Look at all she has done to Elvis and Lisa Marie. It's all about Priscilla and what she wanted. Now, the problem with that comment is that sentence. Look at what she has done to Elvis and Lisa Marie. Now, I'd rather a comment that said, she has done this, she has done that, and listing the things. Let's have a look. I would, because it's too general. It's too, sorry, I've lost the comment now, but it's too general that to say, look at what she's done and then leave it as a space, as an empty gap. If you're saying, look at what she's done, list the things so that, because I could list hundreds of things to you right now, the good things that Priscilla did for Elvis and did for Lisa. Because there was times when Priscilla did truly love Elvis and was truly there for him. But she also made many mistakes. There were many times when Priscilla Presley and Lisa Marie were very close and were very happy together, mother and daughter. And there are many, many interviews that show Priscilla very happy with Lisa. And there's many interviews with Lisa Marie praising her mother, yeah, and laughing with her mother. And yes, if we judge Priscilla and Lisa Marie's relationship just based on how it all ended, like the awards ceremony for the Elvis Baz Luhrmann film, then it comes across that she is depressed, unhappy, she looks unwell, she doesn't want to be anywhere near Priscilla. Jerry Schilling brought her to the awards ceremony. Yeah? So if you want to read the life of Priscilla with Lisa Marie from that particular time, you're going to say they hated each other. But you go back to the 80s and you then look at how Priscilla was very over-caring and very dominant and very protective over Lisa for many years. And I think Priscilla really did try hard to do the right thing with Lisa Marie. The Scientology thing, of course, I completely disagree with it. But I do think Priscilla's intentions were good. She felt she had a rebellious daughter that was out of control, that was starting to get into the wrong things like drugs and alcohol and wouldn't listen to anyone. And she felt Scientology might be the answer to help straighten her out and keep her on the straight and narrow. Now, if you look at later interviews with Lisa Marie Presley, she praises Scientology and she says that when she lost her way many times, that Scientology would sort her out and straighten her out. So, you know, we've got to look at the interviews and what Lisa is saying from her own mouth. Yeah, and I know years later, Lisa Marie fell out with Scientology big time. Yeah, she disagreed with a lot of things they do. But she also praised them as well. So you've got to see the broader picture. Now, I'm completely against Scientology. I just don't like anything to do with it. And I don't think it was the right decision for Priscilla to send Lisa to Scientology at such a young age. I think it was a massive mistake. But do I think Lisa Marie was a terrible parent? No, I think she was a bit out of her depth. I know she had a lot of problems with certain boyfriends like Michael Edwards, and openly admits in his book that he had a crush on Lisa Marie. Well, to me, that's just blatantly wrong. Yeah. And I think there's been other incidents where men that Priscilla was very friendly with secretly liked Lisa Marie as well. So it's very complicated. But don't forget, at 25, Lisa Marie did allow Priscilla Presley to carry on running Gracelands and EPE. She did. She allowed it. Yeah. Now, there's also a thing where Lisa Marie eventually sold 85% of her share of EPE, Elvis Presley Enterprise. I know she retained that she owned Gracelands for herself and that she would never sell Gracelands. But then you've got this weird thing that's come up that loans were being taken out as well. So I can't even comment on that because I don't know the truth behind any of that as well. So what I'm trying to say, when people are saying, oh my God, look what Priscilla has done to Elvis and Lisa, I think you need to be more factual because you have to say the good and the bad, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm waffling on a bit here. So let's read one here. Pusin, I don't think that Suzanne Finstad, the author of the book, was only lies, would have been taking the risk of having it published knowing that Priscilla Bulow had a myriad of lawyers and could have brought her the lawsuit of the century. On the other hand, the book was never censored and on the contrary enjoyed a second publication. It seems that Suzanne Finstad is even considering a volume 2 of the book for the following years. And I've seen that in interviews, she does hint that she knows a lot more and there's another book coming out. And the book originally was out in 97 and there must have been a second release of it, which is probably why we're all talking about it now, because I think many Elvis fans think it's quite a new book. I did. I thought it was quite a new book. So I think Anna Orlando has reacted, but I don't know. I'm not sure because I'm on my phone. I don't really know how to get the comments up. So let's just see what happens. Let's keep going. So that was Pusin. And again, I'm going to disagree with Pusin. Pusin in France. Hi, Pusin. He's in France. Because the fact that there was no lawsuits brought out, except for the one with Cary Grant, against Suzanne Finstad, doesn't mean that what was written in the book is true. It doesn't, yeah? None of us really know the truth. We can read the book and pick out the bits that we agree with, but none of us will actually ever know the real truth behind that book. So, and a second person is saying the same thing. Now, I'll read this to you. This is from Julie's 3327. And let me just have a bit of coffee. I don't think Child Bride is a load of lies, as you say. Now, I haven't said Child Bride is a load of lies. What I've said is, do you think it's a load of lies? I'm not going to comment if I agree with it or if I don't, because I don't know. I'm just going to say this is what I've read in the book, and who knows what the truth is? Who knows what the lies are? That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to sit on the fence. A lot of it, to me, sounds too much to be, like unbelievable. A lot of it sounds like it's very much gunning for Priscilla. And Suzanne Finstad, the author of the book, clearly says that she got on very well with Priscilla. So I don't think Child Bride is a load of lies, as you say. If there were too many untruths in the books, you don't think Priscilla would have disputed the book, which she never has. I think the book is loaded up with lots of truths about Priscilla. Nonetheless, we may never know the real truth. Even if the book is based on truth, Elvis is dead and gone. He isn't able to talk about his life with Priscilla. Therefore, like you said, it may be a closed subject. However, Elvis fans don't trust Priscilla, and as far as her version of life with Elvis goes, she has said too many bad things about Elvis already, which paints him as being a villain and she as some sort of victim. I think Child Bride is true and not hard to believe because Priscilla is so fake. I'm not what she claims to be. Just my opinion, okay? I don't hate Priscilla. I don't trust her at all. I don't think she is credible. And I think to many Elvis fans, they don't trust her. I have to agree with that. They don't think she's credible. All right, this comment has come up. Lisa Marie into Scientology. Oh, that disappeared. That's just annoying. I did see that comment. I wonder if it will come up on my phone. Let me just see if I can find it on. If that comment will come up on my phone. So if I go to my live, let's have a look. No, it's not letting me watch it. But let's go back to the comments. Where are we? Okay. What's this then? Let's have a look. Let's go. Sorry about this, guys. I'm just trying to find the right spot. I'm not sure if it's going to let me find it now. But my point is, let's have a look. Priscilla wasn't a child bride. She married Elvis when she was 22. She was a child when she met Elvis. That's about it. And Child Bride details the very complex and twisted relationship that Priscilla and Elvis share. Now, it says here twisted relationship, but only if it's true, not because it was written in the book Child Bride. That's my opinion. Look, if we don't like Priscilla, we can jump on the bandwagon and all go, yes, she treated Elvis really badly and treated Lisa really badly. I hate Priscilla, I hate Priscilla. We can all do that, can't we? But I don't think we're adults, we're grown-ups, most of us are well over 50. And I think we have to comment in a mature way that is fair. Now, I know that people are upset with Priscilla with financial stuff. They're upset with Priscilla with how she treated Elvis because she also had affairs. They're upset with her with Riley and the twins and the lawsuits. They're upset with her for playing the victim and for saying that in some people say that in the Elvis and Me book, she hinted that he had raped her. And I know all these different things that Priscilla has said that's upset the Elvis fans. But actually, if you add up the things that Priscilla said that's upset Elvis fans, it's probably 10 main things. It's like being unfaithful, being a victim, being stuck at home, being controlled, being told how to dress and do her hair, his temper, his unfaithfulness. Yeah, it's not many things. But I can tell you now, you could list thousands and thousands of stuff where she's promoted Elvis's legacy. She has. If you go on YouTube, you will find thousands of things where Priscilla is right there promoting Elvis. Thousands and thousands of things. You cannot get away from it. So the 10 horrible things that she's done, and I know that some of them, like the Riley thing, has really upset people. And I agree. I think the Riley thing was out of order. And I also know that the $900,000 a year salary from Graceland has upset many people. But she was going to get a salary, and it was going to be a celebrity salary. It was never going to be a low amount of money. And she did a good job with Gracelands. I know she had a lot of help from other people, but she did a good job. Fair. I'm trying to say, I can see why many of you are upset and angry with Priscilla, but why are we all ignoring the good she's done as well? Because she has done a lot of good. There's so many things that Priscilla has got her hand in that are to do with Elvis. And your automatic reaction will be, well, of course, she's doing it for the money. And yes, she is. But don't we all? Don't we all need money? And don't we all do things that to earn a good wage? You know, I think that Priscilla did truly love Elvis, but I also think that once she made her mind and she was out the door, which I think was around 1972, that she completely lost interest in Elvis and was besotted by a different man. And obviously Mike Stone. And I think she had a problem with a good, you know, she had a soft spot for a good looking man, just like Elvis had a soft spot for a good looking woman. So in the end, they were as bad as each other, I think, in some ways. And I do think Priscilla tried to have her own life, completely separate to Elvis. But then life took over because obviously Elvis passed away and they had a small child. So suddenly she was drawn back into it. And then Vernon passed. So again, she's drawn back into it. So it was fated that she was one day going to be the front person for Gracelands with other help. Obviously, we know about Jack Sodden, the finance expert who helped her with many other people to launch Graceland as a living museum. And do I think Graceland was a success just because of Graceland? No, I don't. But do I think she played quite a major role in the launching of Graceland? Yes, I do. I think that Priscilla, when she launched, she stood in front of Graceland and launched Graceland to the world. And there was obviously a massive paparazzi and press that were all there to watch her launch it. I think it did help. I think it did help them flock in. I think Graceland now has its own legs and doesn't need anyone's help other than Elvis, because it just got its own life now. It's got its own momentum. It doesn't need anyone to keep it busy, because people will always go there because they want to be close to Elvis. They want to see Elvis's things, his clothing that he actually wore. And I think Gracelands will get stronger and stronger. And we know that it's massively expanded. So let me just read a few more comments. There's so many comments on here that I don't really know where to start. So, right, where are we? Okay. Lisa Marie was very proud to be Elvis's daughter, an only child. However, living in the shadow of her father wasn't easy, and she did have lots of difficult trying to make her own way in the world. She never was one for attention being on her, and did her very best to have a private life, but it was hard at the time to maintain. She did indeed have lots of pressure on her shoulders. And that's a comment to my Lisa Marie video with that's called This Is Me, My Life. Let's have a look. Lisa didn't hate her mother. She was very hurt by her mother. Well, I believe that. I don't think she hated her. I think that she disagreed with a lot of things that Priscilla did. And I think she probably could see that Priscilla sometimes would tell lies and twist the truth and change her story. And I think that did cause a lot of upset. Yeah, I agree. But I also think Lisa Marie caused a lot of financial problems with Gracelands as well. So let's just read a few more. I think the rift between them has to do with Michael Lockwood, and Priscilla still spoke to him. I get it, you sometimes have to stay in the grandma zone or you might get left out. Okay. When I look at pictures of Priscilla when she was 14, she sure didn't look innocent to me. Look at her eyes and her coy smile. I'm sure she has plans for Elvis from the get-go. Now, remember what I said to you guys. You can always tell if someone hates Priscilla. And I just find that comment ridiculous, that if someone's got a slight smirk on their face, that come on, a picture says 1,000 words doesn't mean you're reading it right. Let's have a look here. Keep going. Priscilla has told about the incident with the other girl, and she said it was not sexual, just wrestling around in bed. When asked by interviews if Elvis ever wanted to do anything perverted, she said no. Finstead, the author, did not say that this part of the interview was recorded, so she could have made it up. I think what it is, Suzanne Finstead hints that Elvis tried to get Priscilla to have some kind of threesome with Elvis, and that's what that comment is about. Hatred takes a bad rap. Sometimes it's justified. I don't believe in hate. Seriously, I think we have to let go. We have to learn to forgive. Thank you so much for not using the name Priscilla Presley. Prissy isn't a Presley. She was not 21 when they got married. She's not a child. Well, she certainly wasn't experienced. Read it twice. So, Priscilla gets caught in so many lies after the divorce. Lived off Elvis till this day, and I could cry the way she treated Lisa Marie. Now, again, yes, she has done very well keeping Elvis's legacy alive financially, but that's her job. That is her job, and she dedicated her life to that job. And whatever you say, she's going to get paid well for doing that job, because she's a rich person, yeah? It's not like you and me, guys, who are just on a very basic wage and we get by. We're talking about celebrities here, you know, multi-millionaires. They say that she's worth £45 million. Let's have a look. It's quite a long... I think the book Child Bride speaks volumes. This is Julie's 3327. It speaks volumes of the truth. She latched onto Elvis not just because he was famous, but because she knew he was lonely and needed to feel close to someone. I don't think Priscilla loved Elvis the way a woman loves a man. I think her feelings were more puppy love and worship. Elvis had an affection for Priscilla, but I don't think he loved her either. The way a man loves a woman, they did develop a closeness of sorts, which is true, but it wasn't enough to keep them faithful to each other and married as a couple. There are different kinds of love, and Elvis and Priscilla had a conditional type of love. Their love was never unconditional. It always seemed to be plagued by various problems. Now, come on, relationships are so complex, but do you really think that Elvis would have brought Priscilla from Germany to America if he didn't love her? I believe Elvis definitely loved her, but I also think Elvis knew that he couldn't be faithful. I believe that because he had too much temptation. Because when he's going off making the movies through the 60s and these beautiful women are throwing themselves at him, people like Anne Margaret, who was stunning, he just couldn't say no, yeah? And obviously then eventually when he went into the Las Vegas concerts, he just couldn't say no. And which is wrong, because a married man should be faithful, and especially once they have the child. He should have been faithful. But I do think that she also, for a while, did love Elvis. But I do think that when she was given space and freedom, because he was off doing his own thing, that she definitely would get attention from good-looking men. And if she was with them too long, she would grow feelings. And before you know it, they were having an affair. And I read one thing today, that before she came out with the Mike Stone affair, that they'd been secretly seeing each other for a year, and they had a place where they would meet for a year before it was all well known. So, you know, they were both naughty, but that comment, I say no. There was times when they loved each other, and I do think that Elvis, even after the divorce, had regrets and sometimes wished he could get back with her. I do believe that. Do I think that they were ever going to get back together? No way. And sometimes there's comments said that they think that if Elvis had lived longer, he may have got back with Priscilla. And there's no way they were going to get back together. Priscilla was glad that she had broken away from Elvis. She wanted to keep him there as a close friend, and she liked his support, not just financially, but she liked his support because he was a very wise, intelligent man. So they were there for each other, but ultimately, I think she just fell out of love with him and didn't fancy him anymore. She fancied other people, yeah? And just like Elvis did, Elvis fancied other people. And Linda Thompson, was beautiful, and Elvis really liked Linda Thompson. You know, I know they were on and off for 4 years, but the first year they were inseparable. They were together every day for a year. So the whole thing is messy, and people are always going to bring up the Child Bride book if they hate Priscilla. I say that. It doesn't make the book true. And I'm not saying the book isn't true, because we don't know. So anyway, I could go on, guys. I've been waffling on for not far off an hour. I just want to say, like I always say, I am not a Priscilla hater, but I'm not a massive Priscilla fan either. I'm not trying to boost Priscilla or be there and promote Priscilla and tell everyone Priscilla is innocent, because I don't think that. I definitely think Priscilla made many, many mistakes, did many things wrong, but I also think she did a lot of good for the legacy of Elvis, and she still does. And I also think she did a lot of bad. And I totally disagree with all the lawsuits, the financial wranglings that went on with Riley Keough, and I think there's still more going on now with I forget her name now, but with another person that tried to help Priscilla. There's a lawsuit there, and that's all to do with finance and money. And you know, my heart goes out to Riley Keough and Finley and Harper, because the spotlight is on them. And then going back to Elvis, you know, guys, I fully support Elvis, and I've always got Elvis's back, but I will keep things fair, and I will say the bad stuff that Elvis did, as well as the millions of amazingly good things that Elvis did. Because I still say this: Elvis is the loveliest, best, most generous, charming, talented human that has ever existed. Because the amount of good that he did was unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you do your research and look into the amount of people that Elvis helped and the charities, it is a list is a mile long. It's an endless list, and he did good from the heart. He really wanted to do good. He yearned to do good. So I will always have his back. Anyway, guys, that's it. More or less an hour, 57 and a half minutes. I know I've waffled on. I don't want to upset anyone. If I've upset you, just let me know in the comments. Please tell me, no matter how you feel about this particular live, whether it's for me or against me, whatever your views are, I like to hear them. Let's just keep it friendly. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.